Guys, Shaun Brewster here with you again today. This episode is all about marketing on the cheap. Now, if you are looking for some strategies, some ideas around how to kick off a business, maybe you've just opened a clinic, maybe just in a new location, you don't know anyone, you don't know the area, you don't have the connections in the network, I've got 5 questions for you to ask, which will come with their own set of answers to help you kickstart a free or almost free marketing campaign to get your business up and running. Okay, the first question is, who do you want? Now, what I mean by who do you want is who are the people, and I want you to go as narrow as possible with this. So thinking about what is the typical demographic, what are their interests, what's the subset of people in your community that you'd ideally like to service. Now, if you can, try to pick people or try to pick a group of people that you can connect with in some way. Ideally, people who are involved in a particular activity, sport, occupation, hobby that you also have an interest in. We're going to come back to that one in a second. The second question is, where are they? Now, I don't mean where do they live. I mean, where would we find these people? What kind of activities are they doing? How can we go and take that narrow subset of people and find out where they exist? Is there clubs? Is there online groups? Okay, that's the second question. Where are they? The third question is, what do they need? Now, this is going to help you identify opportunities for you to reach out and support them with those needs. So what are the things that would best service that group? And again, if it's a group of people that are involved in an occupation or a sport or an activity that you know quite well, you should be able to answer that question. Number 4, how can you speak to them? How can you reach out to them? What are the different means, the different modalities that you can use to communicate with those people in those places where they exist? And the fifth question is, how can you help? And this is the important one. This is where it comes down to your skill, your abilities, the things that you bring as a clinician. What are the specific services or things that you can provide this group of people that will help them solve the problems that they have? Okay, so there's the 5 questions. Who do you want? Where are they? What do they need? How can you speak to them? And how can you help? All right, there are our first 5 questions. You write all those down. Now I'm going to give you a case study. Now, most of you, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know that I've got a bit of a history in long distance running, and I did this exact thing where I had my last clinic. I opened up a running-based clinic practice in an area where I just moved to the area. I didn't know a lot of people. In fact, I knew very few people, and I wanted to kickstart this running specific clinic. And I wanted to go very narrow with my demographic into not just running, but long distance running and trail running. Okay, so I'm going to give you this case study. These are the things that I did, and I think you can do this for just about any occupation, sport, or hobby to identify your demographic and really dive deep into them and reach them and support them in a really effective way. This works brilliantly. The reason this works so well is because it's low cost. So if you are just starting a clinic, most of the things or almost all of the things I'm about to suggest cost $0. They will cost some time and a little bit of effort, but they will pay off in spades. Okay, so I'm going to give you this case study. So I moved into a small country town, an area where I did quite a bit of running myself, and I wanted to be able to work with the community of runners in this area to help them with their running-based needs, their injuries, their training, all the different things that I might be able to support them with. Now, again, you can apply this to just about any occupation, sport, or hobby. You really just have to think creatively. And like I said, ideally before it's a group of people that you can identify with. Okay. So identifying my group of people, I had long distance trail runners in my as my subset of people, as my demographic that I was targeting. The second question was, where are they? Where do we find them? Okay, so for me, I identified that they existed in local running events. So obviously, people would get together on different days of the week and go for runs in the local area. So I could join those groups, I could participate in those groups, and I did. And through that, you build connections. And then on the trail, in this example, you have conversations. And in those conversations, you get an opportunity to share who you are and what you do. And organically, then those opportunities come up for you to help those people. Another thing that you'll find for just about every demographic is there's a Facebook group or some kind of social media group where people use it as a bit of a forum to discuss challenges, to talk about upcoming events and things that might be happening, and basically build that community online and network with one another. This is where it's an absolute gold mine. It's an opportunity for you to join these groups. And for me, I found half a dozen local running groups that I could join online. And I'll talk about what you do when you get there for the moment, but the thing is to be a participant in there. Don't think of it as a marketing opportunity. You have to join those groups and immerse yourself in it. If you've got a true interest in that thing, it's very easy to do. Next thing you can do is start looking at the commercial side of things. So where do these people get their products? Where do they get their suppliers? Where do they hang out to get the stuff that they need to do the thing that they're doing? Now, if you're talking about tradesmen, it's going to be things like Bunnings and different tool supply shops. If you're talking about surfers, the local surf shop, things like that. Where do they go, right? And so running shops, or runners shops, I should say, are a perfect place for someone if they were targeting my demographic. So places where you can buy the shoes, places where you can buy the trail running packs, all the gear. These places exist, and you can go there and you can get to know the people who own the shops and network with them, because all of your customers are going through their doors. And then if someone walks in or hobbles in and says, "Oh, I got a bit of a sore knee," they can go, "Hey, I know this guy down the road," and there can be an exchange of a business card or a flyer or something like that. So a little bit of an indirect way, but this can be a really useful way to get your word out to a local community. And now, you don't obviously want to target shops that are miles and miles away. Ideally, it's somewhere close by. But those are a great opportunity to network with people who can do the networking for you in an indirect way. Now, another sort of a long tail strategy is writing a blog or starting a podcast. I've done both of these, and again, they're both really effective because they build you as a source of reputable knowledge. And now, so writing a blog, it is a long game. I've played this game. It is worth it, but you do have to do it for quite a while. So if you've got a website, you write your thoughts, you share your experience, you write your ideas, you publish it, and then you wait. And if you can get people to share it, maybe that's through the running groups, maybe it's on there's some of the social media groups, and this is again a fantastic way. If you write something you think, oh, this could be quite effective or useful for people, you drop a link into these Facebook groups and just say, hey guys, I thought this, you might find this interesting. Leave it there. Don't spruik it. Don't promote it. Just leave it there. And eventually, over time, people start to recognize you as somebody who knows something about the problems that they are experiencing. Starting a podcast, here we are on mine. You can certainly do that as well. And it's a great opportunity also to network. So, yes, you can share your ideas, your thoughts and experiences, but you can also invite well-known or well-respected people from that demographic to come and be guests. And this is a fantastic way to build your network. And you'll be inundated with opportunities once you start reaching out, because so many people are just happy to talk about the thing that they care about, of course, and the thing that they love to do. So you can jump on there, start to, in those some of those conversations, demonstrate some of the knowledge and experience that you have, but really immerse yourself into that culture by getting to know and talking to the people who matter to that culture. So a podcast, very cheap and easy to start. It's going to cost you less than $20 a month for a hosting platform. You can do it with almost no equipment. You just need a laptop and a microphone. In fact, you can probably do it without a microphone, and away you go. And so very easy to do that too. But again, it can take a little while. It's a long tail game, but one that is worth it over the long term. Okay, so there's some really simple, easy things to try just to immerse yourself into the groups of people that you want to see in your clinical practice. Now, in doing this and in immersing yourself in these places, you'll start to get a bit of an idea about the things they need. Okay, so the question three was, the third question was, what do they need? And so as you're out on the trail talking to these people, as you're out running events and races, you're chatting, you're networking, you're just doing what normal people do, which is has conversations and talk to people. In those conversations, you'll be amazed once you start to go looking for it, how much really good data can come out of that. What are the needs? What are the problems that people are facing on a regular basis with their sport, occupation, hobby, activity, whatever it might be is. And then you start to identify opportunities where you can help them. Now, what you don't want to do is be that creepy guy or girl that turns up to the event and just starts spruiking their business, start handing out business cards. You want to be there, just be the person who's interested in others. And through those conversations, you might make mention of what you do. And then there's an opportunity to say, hey, if you're interested, I can have a look at that for you. I can sort out that knee or take a look at that ankle for you, drop in and see me. Or while we're here, even better, while we're here, let's see if I can take a look at it for you. Be generous, give up front. This will pay off in the long term. And it feels good. So there's an added bonus there as well. So as you're doing these things, as you may be writing blogs, as you are spending time with people on podcasts, as you're attending events, you're talking to people in shops, you're spending time watching and participating in those Facebook groups or social media groups, the key here is to just absorb, listen, watch, communicate, participate, don't ask, okay? It's give, 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 give for the longest time. And then eventually there's an opportunity for you to share what you do in an indirect way and And then in an indirect way, that becomes the ask. Say, become a part of that community. And then at the right time, you'll have the opportunity to say, hey guys, I hear you've got a bit of a knee problem. I might be able to help you with that. Here's my details if you're interested. And then you leave it. There's no sales push. There's no hard sales at any point. That will turn people off. This approach will work really, really well if you're genuine. You have to be genuinely interested in other people and it will work. I guarantee it. Okay, so we've worked out who they are. We worked out where they are. We worked out what they need. And then we also worked out how we can speak to them through these online ways, in person, indirectly through different retailers. We can broadcast to them directly through digital means like blogs and podcasts. You can also be a participant in other people's podcasts. This is a great opportunity, again, for you to really showcase your knowledge and skills. So these are all answering those first initial 4 questions that we identified. The 5th question was, how can you help? Okay, and this is really where you get an opportunity to do your thing and use the skills and knowledge that you've come into this equation with. And the phrase that I always come back to is become the trusted source of knowledge. Okay, so don't become the sales pitch guy or girl. Don't be the person who's pushing their thing. Become the trusted source of knowledge. And so when somebody has a problem, somebody has a challenge, you just drop a solution in there for them. You just drop a possible suggestion of what they could do and give it to them like, yeah, here's the thing that you can have if you like. I'm here if you have any more questions. Be very genuine, be generous. These are the important things. Give away your advice and volunteer. If there's an opportunity for you to give your time, your knowledge and your skills at an event, for example, then turn up. Offer to turn up and do some treatments, do some assessments, help people out. That's another opportunity for you to become known as the trusted source of knowledge. Volunteering is one of those things that I think when I first graduated, everybody was doing, and I'm seeing less and less of it now, which is a real shame because volunteering is a way that you can show what you can do that has less barriers and less perceived risk to the other side. So if it's a sporting club, for example, and you say, I'd like to volunteer some time to come along and help out managing injuries pre and post games, whatever it might be, then that club's going to go volunteer. Fantastic. This person doesn't want anything from us, and they're going to provide a professional service. So you're more likely to get a yes in situations like that. Now, some volunteer roles turn into a paid role. So there's an opportunity for paid work that may come out of that, but that's not the goal. The goal is to become known as the trusted source of knowledge. Okay, so volunteer, give up your time. If you are just starting out and this strategy is for you, as in you don't want to spend too much money, you need to establish your name, your reputation, your brand in this local community, and you want to become known as someone who has something of value, volunteering is one of the best ways to do that. When I say volunteering in person, you can also volunteer information, like the examples I gave earlier about in social media groups and different forums, volunteer information. Don't try to put it behind a paywall. Give away that knowledge and information up front, and people will just assume that you have more of that and will then be happy to come and see you clinically and be happy to pay for that service because you've already demonstrated to them that you are that trusted source of knowledge. Okay. All right, so there are your 5 questions. Now, once you ask the question, the interesting thing is that the answers start to come out, right? So you have to begin with a question. The challenge often people have with marketing is they don't know where to start. They're like, what should I be doing? Where do I go? Try to go as narrow and as specific with those questions as you can. And then very quickly you'll realize that the answers that come with those are also narrow and specific. And it gives you a clear direction of where to proceed, where to go with that. Okay. So hopefully this has been of use, whether you're just starting out or maybe a little further along in your journey, in your career. These things hold true no matter what. So I hope you can put them to good use, and we'll see you on the next one.